Okay.
Okay, I will do the intro. Welcome everybody to the Wallet Improvement Project call. This is our first call for 2022. Unlike the last year where we tried to do some minor wallet UX improvements and basically suggest things that we discovered to the wallet product makers, on this call, what we'll try to do is see how we can improve this type of calls and how do we add a little bit more spice to them, meaning how do we do things a little bit more creatively and how do we include the design thinking process into trying to solve these, as we call them, wicked problems that wallet makers face. So let me share my screen just to give a little quick intro on the project itself. I made very quickly a presentation, and it's not really a presentation, it's just a few slides here that I just want to share with you guys. So first of all, we're calling it wallet design improvement from now on because, yeah, we need to include the design thinking into the process. So, and I guess once people see that it is actually a design project, maybe more people will get involved. So overview of the project is basically aims to help improve Lightning Network wallets in the ecosystem by facilitating unique type of assistance to this wallet. So whether what type of assistance is that, we will determine that on, I guess, wallet to wallet basis, because yeah, we first need to communicate this to their developers and determine how do we, what kind of help do they even need before we try to solve problems. So yeah, that I will outline the steps in a moment, but yeah, project duration is basically 1 year. So let's hope that during that time we can review, I guess, 5 to 7 Lightning Network wallets. Our priority, by the way, is wallets which are non-custodial. And if just to give a little bit more clarity on that one, that means that user has a complete control over their funds. And our focus is also on free and open source software wallets. So this means that the code is available on GitHub for everybody to preview. And we'll prioritize projects that are not, I guess, backed by a company. Though that does not mean that we will not include company-backed wallets, just that they already have design teams, and we're trying to assist, first of all, projects that do not have design teams to help them solve these problems. So one of the problems that we earlier saw with the Lightning Network wallet and free and open source project in general is that they simply do not have contributors and capacity in order to tackle these projects. I've been in open source for 5th year, I think now, or maybe even more. And the way these processes evolve in open source is that you have one developer usually who open sources a project just because it's fun for them. And they start building it, and then community, starts growing, and people start requesting features, and they basically never actually think about the big picture. And yeah, it's not really that their fault, because most of open source projects start as one-man project, basically having fun. And that's why the wallet UX of these projects is often very confusing, because there is no structure. People don't think about the big picture. And this is what I think one aspect that this community can bring into them is communicating and helping them figure out the big picture and improve the UX. So what we will do is try to facilitate design processes and help improve the UX by bringing in maybe some data, whether that is through doing interviews with their users, and also solution based on the usability studies. So again, the exact process will depend from wallet to wallet. So I don't want to emphasize we need to do this and that. We'll figure things out on the go. And I guess once we do the first wallet, things will get smoother and we will iron out everything. As we'll learn, basically. The main thing for me for this project is that I really want us to solve some of the problems in a very unique way and do it creatively so that it is actually fun. So us trying to figure out the hard problems by, doing actual design sprint and things like that. And it will include a lot of people, hopefully, and it will require some of the commitment from a few people to help facilitate all of this. So The goal is also to document all the learnings in a form of a case study and then implement those learnings into Bitcoin Design Guide, because that's the point of why we are doing this on our end. We really want people to document the processes and how we solve these problems, what we discovered along the way, and that should all be present in the Bitcoin Design Guide. So yeah, as I said, prioritizing non-custodial Lightning Network wallet, and which are open source. And I forgot to add, as always, a bullet point which says that are not backed by a company and do not have a dedicated design teams. So there are a few wallets that might fit in our criteria, and we'll talk about it in a moment. But for now, these are the phases. Yeah, you can see that I stole this template from Google presentation because, yeah, I guess it looks cool. And these are the phases. Now, design thinking phases really differ from company to company, and I guess from course to course where you heard about them. I really like the one that Christoph actually emphasized because it's easy to remember. It's like 4Ds: discover, define, design, and deliver. And these are very similar to the one that you have, like, which started emphasizing ideating, prototyping, and testing. So we won't have like formal design thinking process here. We will try to figure things on the go. So the most important thing is for us to connect with the project, find out what they really want to do with their project. Like, what is your wallet about? What it does? What are your goals with it? Maybe some people are just having fun and they don't want their wallet to be used by billions of users. And maybe we'll discover wallets made by very small open source design team, open source team, which will try to offer their wallet to billions of users. So the goals of the project will differ, and based on that, we will try to basically discover the problems that they're having and try to define the problems based on data. And then in the third phase, basically refound those outputs, create wireframes. I guess the third phase is where the fun will begin. Basically, a bunch of designers trying to solve this problem, hopefully in Figma, in a collaborative way. And as I said, final phase will be basically us documenting solutions, posting them on GitHub, and creating a case study. And yeah, this is my last slide because before the meeting started, I really rushed it. So basically what we'll need is define also roles and see how many people might be interested in helping all of this. And yeah, this is based on my and Christoph documents, and I'm just curious to hear what you guys think about it, because I'm already ranting for quite a bit. So just want to hear what are your thoughts on the wallet improvement project and how we may want to tackle things, and what are the things that maybe you disagree with the things that I outlined, I guess. So does anybody have any questions or maybe some of the ideas for the wallet improvement project? And was my presentation a little bit ranty? So just let me know.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear what can be done. I was just wondering, are we gonna choose a wallet like collectively, or do we like meet next week and propose a bunch of open source wallets and see which one we're more interested in? Or...
Yeah, that's a very good question. Honestly, I have no idea. I guess I do have a list of wallets which we may want to tackle, but if anybody of us, have wallets that they use that maybe fits in the criteria, maybe, if you have a wallet that you like, do you use any Lightning wallets? I'm just curious now. Maybe do you have them on your phone installed?
I don't use currently a Lightning wallet, no. I mean, I
awesome.
use mostly like Sparrow and Green Wallet, to be honest. But I mean, I'm open to explore, of course, and suggest some Lightning wallets. Yeah, but I need a little bit more research on my side.
Yeah. Well, I guess for this first call, it would be a good idea to determine like a wallet, and then maybe just the way I see it is we determine a wallet, we reach out to the product makers, and we set up a meeting. And it does not have to be like a big community meeting, because I understand that people are busy, and maybe just 2 or 3 of us can jump on a call with them and just talk, document, record a call, and document like what are our learnings, like what are their goals, what are their struggles, do they have any specific problems that they are trying to solve, and then based on that we can try to then frame it, how to tackle and basically make a strategy. How do we help them? I don't know. Does anybody have maybe an idea for a wallet that we can do first time for this first call? Maybe a wallet that is completely open sourced, non-custodial entirely, and maybe made by a small team of developers, I guess.
I mean, one or two of us or whoever could also come up with a short list. We could post them in Slack and then just ask people to vote on them. And then whoever gets where the most interest is and where maybe people want to say that they want to help out with. Because we do rely on people wanting to help out.
And just with regards to what Pavel just said, the initial call would be asking in the discover phase, someone would get on a call, or a few people would get on a call with the developer. Does anyone have maybe Christoph, have a document of questions that are logical and helpful to ask in that initial call?
I think we'll have to come up with that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, like for stuff like this, I think we typically have to do like one first meeting to see like the kind of questions that we want to come out, and from there we create a template from it. I guess we can brainstorm on like some beforehand, but I like to just jump in first of all, and just ask like various product questions. It's a discovery call at the end of the day, right? So you kind of want it to be flexible to see what you can get out of them.
I think Pavlik's maybe something to talk about too is that not all of this activity will happen on calls. There will be a good amount of stuff that happens asynchronously, where people kind of go off and do things and research, and then share it on Slack or share it maybe on a GitHub issue or share a video or so, right? Or how did you see that happen?
Yeah, that's exactly how I think things will evolve, because I don't expect like 20 of us to be always present and be equally passionate about certain type of projects. You may have people hating on certain wallet, like, I hate Moon, I don't want to review Moon, I don't want to get involved with it, I don't use it. Or maybe you will have people who are really passionate about certain wallets. And I guess, most of the work will happen behind the scenes or asynchronously, as you said. I do think that the most important thing, besides defining like which wallet and getting information from the makers, is also getting commitment from people, because we will be all doing this in our spare time. And yes, every single wallet will for every wallet, I think it will be good to have like commitment for 2 or 3 of us, which will like, okay, I am going to be focused in the next 3 weeks, at least hour every day, and be helping with documenting things, asking questions, doing usability study or whatnot. Because one code that I think community will be interested in, it is an actual like design sprinter, where people will be trying to solve those problems in Figma, and I think those will be very creative and people will be interested for them. But in order for that to happen, we will need to have like information about the wallet, about the users, personas, and things like that. So a lot of preparation will be also needed in order to solve these type of problems. And I guess having commitment beforehand would be very useful. I think team of 3 to 4 people can easily do that if we are, I guess, passionate enough to make it happen. But that's a good question. So Raz, you have a question, you want to speak? Go ahead.
Hello. I think the list that Christoph shared, I think that's really good, and it would be a good idea to kind of synchronize between each other, because I'm thinking if we're gonna spam all the wallets with requests about how we can improve them, it's not going to be good on their side either. So I propose we could start from there maybe, and I was thinking of just reaching out to a couple of wallet developers and just ask how they're doing, what they need help with, and I'll just mark the interaction there on that document, if that's okay.
Yeah, so I guess We will do it one wallet at a time, because I think at least for that first wallet, there will be lots of learnings and lots of mistakes on our end. Like, we will assume lots of things that probably won't end up being correct. And I think it will be a very interesting learning process for all of us. So yeah, I agree. We have to contact all of them, but maybe we just start with one and focus on those, because if we focus on many wallets, we may end up making lots of mistakes very quickly. I guess I don't know. What I would do is, because last year we did reach out to many of these wallet developers, and we do have contacts with them. Like, we've already been in touch, so it will be like most of them even responded back to us, and majority of them even implemented features that and UX solutions that we proposed. So that's good. So we do have open line of communication with them already. We just need to pick one, because if we try to tackle many of them, I think we may end up having a mess, because I don't think that many people can even commit to this project. So I would just go one by one. Maybe we start with the top of that list even, or we just go with maybe the simplest one that we want to solve. Maybe that's Blixt, because Blixt is literally just one guy doing a wallet, and he's very open to feedback, and that's very important, because you do have developers in open source who will dismiss most of the feedback. You don't know my users. I don't care. You're a bunch of designers, doing colors and things. That's pretty normal. Like, it's their projects. They don't care about scaling it and making it for a billion people, and that's perfectly fine, I guess. So we just need to see which of these are even open to discussing things with us and accepting our help. So yeah, Raz, I'm not sure if this makes sense, but our experience so far has been that it's as we learn, it will be, our process will also improve. So I just suggest we go that way. I'm not sure if that I was clear enough.
Definitely.
Yeah, Jones, you want to speak?
Yeah, you said the design part is like the most fun part, and I would argue against that. I think the defining synthesizing the data from discovery and defining the problem statement and areas to improve. I think that's quite a fun interactive part, and there is a process that I typically use for this, which is like, as you mentioned, the design sprint from Google Ventures. And one of the reasons why I like it is because you mentioned that, we'll be making some mistakes and maybe some of the things we're way off on, right? I see that as kind of like a waste of time, and we want to be I think it would be better for us to be as efficient as possible, and to do that we would need to gain alignment with the teams on what their goals and stuff are. If we have that alignment, then the stuff that we would do doesn't end up as a waste, right? It would provide valuable learnings for the team, right? And yeah, so doing that work up front to gain alignment will allow us to produce something that's actually valuable, or they could experiment with or prove out some hypothesis with, or whatnot. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the design sprint process from Google. Show of hands, yeah, Christoph, yeah. I think I did one of Pavlinek's as well. Do you mind if I show off like a couple boards quickly? Do you guys mind this?
Please do.
No, of course. No, go ahead. I'm so curious now, because that's the interesting part, to be like preparing all of this and then going crazy in Figma or Miro or whatever you plan to use for this. So
yeah, give me a second. I'm gonna probably FigJam or something. I'm gonna have to restart because my screen sharing's kind of off here. So I'm just gonna jump in a second, okay?
Yeah, no worries. Christoph and I will be singing to fill in the void and the emptiness of the discussion while Jones is reconnecting. So
feel free to start now with the singing.
Yeah, both Christoph and I are so serious. I doubt that will sound, but maybe when we have a drinking call, that would make sense. But yeah, John's now pulled me out of this. So yeah, I guess John's reconnected, so I won't sing.
Hold on, I'm gonna I'm gonna jump off again if you're gonna sing. I want to hear this. Well, I want it to happen at least. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, so we would need like after that discovery call, we would need to like figure out like, yeah, what are the kind of pain points, and I guess like if there's a template, we're trying to figure out what the project's users has the most trouble with, because again, like last year when we did the wallet improvement project, I think a lot of the pushback we ended up getting was like not knowing the project's goals and the project's intentions or the user base, right? Or the point in which the project is at. Yeah, the point in which the project's at. So once we have like a general idea of like the kinds of problems that we'll be solving, then we can start getting a bit more in depth with a few stakeholders in the project. Now, I do understand like having one like a project with one developer might be like easier to get things like to put our kind of like bias into. But there's also value in getting like a few other people on the project, whether it's like an existing designer on the team, or who could give kind of like that human kind of a user facing feedback, and then some technical experts as well, and even potentially like one additional person who knows about the business, or like even though it's not like a for profit, but more of like the strategy and whatnot of the overall project, who could kind of be like the one who like project manages or decides on things. So during these design sprint sections, we're kind of like trying to like set the tone by defining the challenge. So in order to do that, we ask like, what is the product, right? So everyone like puts down their view of what the product is, like on these sticky notes, and then we do a voting session. Once we get that, we ask like, what does it do, right? Like, what are some of the core functionalities of it, right? And this is a good way to see also like the future of the project, because these are interactive in some areas where. Is it too windy for you guys, by the way? Okay,
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little bit windy.
okay, I'm gonna go outside. Yeah, so this next step is like what to do in core functionalities, and it also helps us kind of figure out like what the future roadmap could possibly be, right? So some people will say like, hey, like it would be cool if the project did this, and if we implemented this, but those are not necessarily going to be the things that get voted on. If they are, then we understand that this is either a new feature that's going to be launched, or a or an experiment that they want to or yes, some experiment that they want some designs for, and to be able to test with some users. And again, you go through the voting thing as well. Now, yeah, who do you want to test these early these features with, right? Like, who are the main users of the product? And then everyone puts in their perspective here, but then in the end we ended up with the ones which are voted on are pretty much like we get by consensus of like, this is the area that we're trying to target, the demographic that we're trying to target. And then we have this kind of long-term view as well. Yeah, like in the long term, what do we want the project to be, or how do we see the project as? And it's not like us individual contributors in the wallet improvement project that's putting this more. It's the valuable thing is getting this information out from the project stakeholders and contributors. And then we start like doing like these technical interviews, expert interviews, where we start like doing this question and answer based on things that we have previously discussed and voted on and whatnot. We start coming up with these how might we questions. Then next up, yeah, this is just for like documenting what the sprint questions and the long-term goal is. The next step is like, yeah, we choose, yeah, we start categorizing some of these functionalities, right? These challenges, and we like you would notice these categories here. They also are in line with these core function. Some of them are in line with the core functionalities the core functionality like pay invoices, Bolt 11, send LBE with L&D accounts, etc. You see they're kind of categorized based on those core features, and these are the challenges associated with them. After that, we vote on them. We vote on the challenges that we want to tackle during this, improvement project design sprint, right? And then we say, okay, well, for like for this challenge of paying invoices, let's we need to be able to like map out like part of that user flow. And if enough people are doing this, we get like to start like mixing, matching, and Frankensteining these things together. Then we are able to create this kind of like larger customer journey where we fill it in of like how do people discover the application all the way to what are the goals. This one's missing the goals, but let's assume there's goals there. And then the next exercise is this design research where everyone's like pulling up inspiration and whatnot. I think this one is a pretty good example of it. This is one for the Wasabi wallet. Um, this is one for Wasabi wallet. Um, Wabi Sabi, sorry, a new coin join protocol, and it has a goal on the end there. And we went really in depth with the design research here, diagramming stuff that didn't exist and whatnot, ways to visualize UTXOs, etc. And once we have that, we put notes and say like what about these screenshots are kind of like interesting for the challenge that we're trying to solve. Um, uh, like this. If you let dumb people use experiment, we don't think that. And then after that, we end up in a like a sketching phase where we're doing these like very quick sketches for some specific solutions, and we're also talking about them and sharing it with one another. In the end, we end up with kind of like this wireframe storyboard kind of thing. And this is the point in which the UI designers could come in there and make it all pretty and looking good. And yeah, that's typically the process. It usually lasts for 3 days. 4 hours per day is quite intensive. Maybe we could figure out how to adapt it in a smaller time frame if people don't have that much time to dedicate to it. Maybe we could try in like 2.5 or 3 hours, but it's still going to be a bit intense. Yep, that's it.
Intense is good.
Oh, see how much hair I have left.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's exactly the process that I also had in mind. I'm just curious, are there any steps we can do before we go to the Miro board that can help us, be more efficient on our time? Like, are there any steps that we can reduce by having a better preparation, like having information on the product, or because as you were I guess browsing through the Miro board, it occurred to me like, is this users of the wallet that we are doing collecting information from, or is this the experts, or or is it the wallet makers? So who is this process for it? That wasn't very I guess clear to me.
Yeah. So usually you would have like one like technical person from the project, right? Like so a developer contributor who knows like who can answer like all the range of questions. The other one is someone in charge, like someone who interfaces with users or user interfaces, right? So it could be like a customer support, like, because the reason why I specified that one in particular is that a lot of these projects that are in open source that need help, they may interact with users, um, but on like a very technical level, right? They're producing tools for other developers or other technical people, um, but um, but and that's how they know how to communicate. If there's a designer on the project or someone who's in charge of customer service or something, user feedback, etc., then we'll be able to get like a different perspective on one of these technical projects. So someone who interfaces with users or user interfaces, someone who is very technical, and possibly someone who knows kind of like the strategy and roadmap and stuff like that in the project. That would also be good. Now, those roles could be combined into one, or 2 people or 3 people. Typically, you want about like 7 people on these calls in total, because otherwise it gets just like mad.
Yeah, but so
And
you're saying
something,
the initial user research has to happen separately, and then somebody is part of this process who already knows these things. They have a feel for them either through direct contact with the users or because they did the research ahead of time. Then they can kind of represent the user to some decent extent.
yeah, I don't expect anyone to be doing like research upfront, because a lot of open source projects just don't have these resources. But like the person who's like in the Telegram answering messages, versus like the developer who never touches Telegram and never talks to anyone, and they're just talking about like encryption schemes and whatnot, right? So they're valuable for like one aspect of technical constraints in the discussion, but other aspects they're gonna not be able to give context on, right? Sorry for the noise, people.
Yeah, and more importantly, developer or maintainer will not join a 4-hour design call. They will rather pull their hair out, most likely, at least from my experience.
Well, to be perfectly like we're just wrapping up this what do you call it, presentation for FOSDEM, and the Lightning browser extension is an example of like at a developer hackathon. The developer that me and Christoph were working with, he hardly wrote any code during the hackathon. He was just interested in this process alone, because it's not often that, you know, like we get to like communicate our ideas in like this kind of format, and like within this kind of structure. So for him, at least for this new project, he felt that it was like a really great kind of like outlet for all the ideas, and getting structure in like what he's thinking about. It may be some convincing that we need to do for like, you know, like maybe Nicholas Dorier for coming in here, but I think it is possible. Otherwise, there are other people like that are able to fill some of those gaps. But it would still be good for like the person who sets like the grand vision to, you know, the benevolent dictator or whoever it is, to have some kind of either representation themselves, or for them to attend. And with regards to shortening the amount of time, there are some parts of like yeah, we could probably put out some questions initially about like you know, what is the product, and we get like a list of, yeah, we get a list of like a paragraph probably of like from the project, from different people on the project. We could do some parts async. The other thing that I like to do is to put everyone on mute. So like whilst they're filling out the cards, and then put it using timers and saying like, hey, we're not talking for this session because it's not a talking session. We're just like dumping out notes.
So does that mean that you are volunteering for the facilitator role for the first sprint? That sounds... Because if you are, I'm getting you another BTC Pay t-shirt in Istanbul if you are volunteering.
Let's go.
Oh, I just love this. This is a new form of role assigning that I've never seen before. I'm learning so much from you, Pavel.
Well, what dates are we looking at?
Well,
Well,
I don't know. Let's figure things out. Like maybe we pick a wallet now, do intro call with them next week, a few of us who have the time. Then we present that data and learnings, and then maybe we fill in the Miro board that you already have with the things that we discovered during the initial call, just to speed things up a little bit, I guess. So, and then that's where you come in. Muting people and doing timers and not allowing people to talk is where you will shine, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how much I should have talked about this design. These design sprints, they're not that good after all, coming to think of it. I'm not really sure about that. No. I'm happy to help out. Yeah, I like these workshops.
Yeah, and I guess if somebody else also, learns from the way you present and organize things during the sprint, maybe then we have somebody else on the next call or for the next wallet. So we switch roles. Like that can also be interesting. That will allow us to learn things so that we don't, get used to doing certain things, but we mix. Like maybe somebody will be doing user interviews or whatever it is that we agree. Because I guess lots of these processes and phases will actually depend on what wallet makers and us come to consensus with, like what is it that we will be trying to solve, or what are those problems. And I guess Christoph is also mentioned this numerous times, like it will be very flexible, and it won't like be reproducible from wallet to wallet basis in most cases, because they have different goals, they have different roadmaps, and I guess we will learn things on a go. So I guess, are there any more maybe questions or ideas regarding sprints or whatever it is that you guys want to maybe talk about from your experience? I'm also curious to hear if anybody has like similar experience with the design sprints like John's, or are there any other suggestions that you think may fill in before we maybe kick things off with choosing a wallet and determining the next steps? Nobody. Come on, guys.
Stephen, what do you think?
No, John's presentation seems very comprehensive to compared to what I've been doing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm also in full agreement with John's presentation. So absolutely no questions from my side.
No. Please. I don't know who just spoke there. If you have ideas of things that you're currently doing, this process is always like a lot of iterating on it and stuff like that. So it's it's important to learn from each other's processes as well. So if you have some ideas and like what has been working for you actually, like how would you approach it?
Yeah, I will sing while Jones is relocating from his windy. I'm not sure where he is, but it's windy as hell there.
I'm sorry, it's on my balcony. I'm not allowed to smoke inside, so.
Yeah, so I guess we all
Yeah.
really. Yeah, go ahead, Jones.
Yeah, I was just asking, like whoever just spoke, I'm not sure who it was. If you can like talk about your process, and we could learn from that.
So the way I've been working on some projects, but they were not necessarily UI or UX focused. We used a Jira board. We tried to kind of implement the same workflow as the developers had for the design, and we kind of structured the tasks between each team member. But it's the research phase, let's say, was a little bit less organized than what you showed us, because we just had a lot of disconnected Google documents and presentations and all that, and then we were just linking them to the Jira board, really. So that's kind of what I've used before.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, do you have any of this documented?
I can certainly look into what I have, and I can share.
Okay, awesome. I'll share one document as well. Some of these Miro boards. So we have one for Wabi Sabi. I'm putting it on the meeting notes, everyone. So one for Wabi Sabi, one for merchants, And so
I even think we have a recording, Jones, for the merchant sprint, so maybe that can help people visualize things. It's quite long, but yeah, it may better communicate the process. It's mostly me talking in broken English with Jones about people accepting Bitcoin payments, so that may be curious for the accent lovers, I guess, to see that meeting. I will also link it.
Yeah. Also, I was talking in broken English as well, so I usually do. Yeah. So I posted the links in the document. But this is awesome. Thanks for setting this up, Pav. And yeah, like I'm really excited about what we're going to be doing with the Wallet Improvement Project this year. Lots of learnings from last year. It seemed to be making quite a bit of an impact as well. They may have been pushed back in certain areas, but I think ultimately we really got to kind of like apply some of the things that we were doing in the guide, and also like add new things to it, learnings that we got. So I guess that would be like a question that I would have, like, how does this get tied back into the guide besides just case studies?
That's a good one. Well, I'm not quite sure, to be honest, how this all fits in the big picture, into the big picture. I guess we will probably notice certain patterns and certain mistakes being repeating themselves throughout these wallets, and I guess then we can probably, in a way, add them to the guide. Like last year, what we noticed is there isn't like very much difference between primary call to action and secondary call to action, like create a wallet and import a wallet. And that I guess repeated through four wallets that we reviewed. So that's why then we added to the Bitcoin design guide, we added like you should always, prioritize certain call to action, and then we added illustration, which was like, our learnings basically. That's the example that came to my mind, but there were like quite a few of these. So I guess, yeah, as we learn things and document them into case studies, we probably will then iron out the wallet. One thing that can also be helpful, for example, if let's say that our problem is users cannot figure out how to send Bitcoin. That means that we'll probably be working on sending flows. And then maybe all of us can read simply sending page in our Bitcoin design guide, just, brush up on the things that we may add, and then provide basically feedback and learn things from that as well. That can also be like one way to include Bitcoin design guide to this even more. I guess that's what you're saying. How do we connect all this together? Right. I'm not sure. I'm also curious how all of our processes that we do here, like, sprints and everything, most of this will be recorded and I hopefully well documented, so other teams from maybe even beyond Bitcoin industry can also learn from this. Because I guess in companies like Google and big companies, you don't have all this open, transparent and up in the public of people, ideating, trying to solve problems. So this can also be very use case case study, on its own. Like, how do these people in the open from all over the world try to solve problems, working on projects that are free? And maybe that can also be a use case on its own. Who knows what we'll discover, I guess. Not really sure. But for me personally, I'm hoping that all of us will get creative juices flowing, like really doing some actual design stuff and getting to know with actual problems that users face, like being a little bit closer to the users and the problems that they have. I guess that's what I would really like to simply speak to people, to the users of these wallets, like, hey, why do you think it was hard to send Bitcoin? Like, what was it that was frustrating, or things like that. I would really like to learn, and maybe that can be a research on its own. I'm very curious, and I'm sure this project on itself will inspire quite a few side projects. Because I was talking to Christoph earlier, and he was like, well, what if it is, a branding problem or a website problem? Like, people project does not have a clear enough website communicating what it does. And that can also be a side project on its own. People helping with the branding, with the logo, with the tone of the brand, or whatever it is. So I'm sure we will learn quite a lot, guys. So I'm not really sure on the exact steps, but I'm just hoping it will remain fun for all of us to just commit to it and be excited to doing it, because we are learning along the way. That's what I'm hoping for, I guess.
I can tell you, I will copy and everything cool and well executed that I find and put it in the Bitcoin UI kit and the Bitcoin icon set relentlessly. So I found these wallet reviews super helpful for the work on the sending Bitcoin page with all the Lightning stuff. For example, trying all these different wallets and figuring out how the send flow works and what buttons are highlighted and all those interactions around them. I found that super informative end of last year. And I will steal all the best practices.
Yeah, steal, copy, and improve. Like, that's what open source is about. So, I have nothing more like on my end regarding the steps. I would just like for us to maybe pick a wallet and then maybe set up a call with, maybe tomorrow I will bug developers of whatever wallet we pick, and then we jump on maybe, I don't know, next week or in a few days, we jump on a call with them, record it, of course, and document it. So any wallet preferences here? Like, is there any wallet that you guys really liked, used, or I don't know, maybe in El Salvador, Steven, was it any that you like, maybe, or John's? Any? I'm very curious because you guys saw quite a lot of people transacting, so I'm just curious which wallets they used, and maybe we can pick one of those.
Yeah, I like Chivo. That was a good one.
Well, a lot of people use Chivo. It doesn't satisfy your criteria of being non-custodial, though. There's Bitcoin Beach, which we already reviewed last year, which is very good. Also, it's a custodial one, so that doesn't really satisfy the criteria you've outlined. It's still a good one. It's maybe worth discussing, I think, because it's interesting because it's different than the traditional large corporation custody model, but nonetheless, it is a custodial wallet. Wallet of Satoshi was in use a good bit. That again is a custodial wallet. I'd say the one I would see being used most frequently, or hear about being used most frequently, that's non-custodial, would be Moon.
Yeah, Moon's a tricky one.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one to do. I like Blixt. I really like Blixt, actually. Yeah, I think Blix is cool. Does it have to be a mobile wallet as well? Because there's these things like LN Bits, the BTC Pay server. There's
I guess in the beginning we should probably focus on mobile and like the one that is truly like non-custodial open source, and maybe we will reduce on our criteria as we figure things out, because I'm sure that there are lots of things to learn from those custodial wallets, and those learnings can also be implemented in non-custodial. So I'm sure there is, like, as we do things on one, we will later on the next one we will suggest some things that A wallet did better than B, and then we will suggest it to do C, things like that. So I'm not like anti-custodial wallets. There are lots of things to learn there. Maybe we just start with the one that really maybe ticks all the boxes, and that seems to be the Blixt in this moment. Maybe we just start with Blixt, and it's also just a very small team, one guy doing everything, so it will be maybe easier to communicate, and they will be more responsive, I guess, to our questions and things. Maybe I can reach out, and maybe we start with Blix and then determine afterwards maybe Moon or whatever. It doesn't have to be like all the boxes, but maybe we just start with one that does, and then reduce the criteria as we go down the road. So any other suggestions, I guess?
But
sorry. Go ahead.
We were talking about like when I hopped in about projects that are not funded and truly open source, right? So like, does the Moon like this Moon and Blue Wallet? Because I think Blue Wallet could also be a cool one. But do those funded projects like count as that? I don't know, because Breeze, Moon, Blue Wallet.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Blue is really funded. I'm not completely sure. They're doing some architectural changes So I would wait for that to happen before we try to help them, like implementing LDK. But a Lightning development kit for those who are not sure what LDK is, like different Lightning Network implementation. But I'm not sure. I think we can learn a lot from.
Did this whole thing just restart for you also?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's silent about it. I'm like, was it just me?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we're in this together. Guys.
Did the call recording restart itself, or it stopped, or is it still on?
It restarted.
It restarted.
Or it's still going. I'm not sure. I'll have to see once I stop it, see if it creates one file or two files, or if it's all gone. I'm not. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not even sure. I was talking and then everything cut off for me, and I also thought it was just me. But anyway, yeah. So, Jones, you were saying, like, I'm not against these wallets that are funded, that they have teams. We can also include their design teams and maybe learn from them as well. It will be interesting because, they already have dedicated design teams, roadmaps, problems clearly defined. Maybe they even don't need our help. We will see. But I'm sure they will find it interesting. Maybe we can offer certain things that are unique that their design team does not typically do. Maybe conduct a usability study and things like that. But let's just talk to them and see, what is it that we can help it, and try to help with the things that are very unique, because we have quite a big community of very creative people who can really solve these problems. And I just want everyone to know, like, we really want this to be open, and that everybody, regardless of their experience or whatnot, can join in and help, because ideas come from all over the place, and I'm sure the best one will win, and we will get consensus on the best ideas anyway. So yeah, so I guess next actionable step would be reaching out to Blix developer, just presenting the idea to him. I can take this on myself, but if anybody else also wants to join me, feel free to, we can maybe later on create a thread on general channel in Slack so that we can maybe, I guess, brainstorm a little bit more on how we want to approach things. But just reaching out to them, then documenting what his goals are with the Blix, then maybe certain problems he knows, and then from there we will maybe do one more call to determine things. Does that make any sense? And are there any maybe additional things that you guys want to talk about or add regarding the wallet improvement project?
Yeah, I got one other thing. Sorry, I talk a lot. So one other thing is that this design sprint process that I told you, for the most part, like during the sprint, is quite internal, right? But the what do you call it? The beginning part with like possible research and stuff, it's also possible where it could be like less when I say internal, it's like focusing on the team, right? And the team's knowledge and gaining alignment with them. It doesn't cater so much for like the external researches and stuff, like research projects or talking to users and whatnot. So that could be something that we do. The output, the goal of it is to create a clickable prototype that you can like test with users. So that's one thing to also consider. It's very internal, and it produces a prototype. That prototype could then be used to do some more outward things, but there could also be stuff that you want to do before this design sprint. Perhaps I don't typically do that, but we can share processes and create smaller projects. Mugesh.
Christoph knows what I'm going to ask. So, Johns, you mentioned that there's no pre-research done. So are there any usability tests done then in that sprint?
The usability test is done after the fact with the output.
Okay, so after the prototype's actually created, then the usability tests are created on the prototype. So no users are spoken to before the prototype is created.
Yeah, because it's using this concept called like expert interviews, right? And what you do with expert interviews is, instead of going out and do research yourself, you find the experts, which is like the project owners. They know the context and stuff, and you gain alignment with them. You do a knowledge sharing session with them, and that gives you a high density of like wide knowledge about things regarding the user strategy, technology, in a very condensed period of time. So that's what it relies on, essentially. Yeah.
Okay, so then prototype and then usability tests and then changes to the prototype based on the usability tests.
Yeah, exactly. But there could be a scenario where you want to do user research up front and get more integrated with the team and the community initially to help them form the challenge that you want to explore during the design sprint.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly the question I had. Like, when does actual testing come in? It will be interesting to see wallets that don't have a big user base. How will we approach that? And are they even aware? Because I'm not sure how many people are using Blixt in particular. Like, do they even have a community on Telegram or somewhere? And yeah, are they even aware of the problems? Because being in open source, one thing I notice is that open source developers don't really notice problems themselves until people start complaining or talking about them. Like, because what they designed it mostly for them and it works for them. They're familiar with it. But yeah, as people start rolling in the feedback, then they discover problems. And it needs to happen quite a few times, like user reporting this for them to realize it is a problem. So it will be interesting to see how we will approach this when a wallet does not have a big user base, and I'm not sure. I guess we will learn along the way. But yeah, I think.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
If you do the usability test, if you do the usability test before, then that really affects the timeline, because if you don't have the results from the usability test, you can't really go forward with John's sprint. But if you do them afterwards based on your prototype, then you're less time bound, because you would have to set up an hour-long, 45-minute long conversations with a user and set that up fairly quickly between the calls. So that's also something to think about.
Yeah, I agree. That one will be challenging, but let's just hope, pray, I guess, that whatever wallet we are approaching, at least in this first phase, as we're learning, they will be aware of some certain problems, I guess, that we can tackle without prior conducting, I guess, the usability study. But if, for example, they see value in having a usability study prior, then I guess we should focus on that and then provide data on that. Because after all, the goal of this is to, provide value to these projects that is very unique, that they cannot get from maybe their users on Telegram, or basically people constantly using a wallet and things like that. Maybe that, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is like very certain unique value that they cannot get within their community. And I think that's where we will shine, like adapting to whatever it is that their goals are. And then we do have a rough structure in mind, I guess, and rough phases that we will conduct, but we will definitely need to be flexible in regards to that. And I guess that will be very interesting.
I'm looking at the Blixt wallet website here, and it says here, it's currently aimed towards Bitcoin users who want to try out using Lightning Network. So there's clearly an idea there, and a general direction that's already helpful. So Bitcoin users, that means people who already have Bitcoin, who are new to the Lightning Network. So I think there are a lot of times there are things you can pick up if you look closely at wallets to kind of understand where they're coming from, and then you can look through the Telegram, you can look through issues in GitHub or so, and then you kind of get from that conversation, or maybe on Reddit or somewhere, then you get a sense of who's been using this and how they respond to it. So I think there's a lot of stuff you kind of read between the lines ahead of time too, and I think it's also really helpful when you yourself try out one of those things before the project starts, you pay really close attention to your own experience, like user test yourself, observe yourself. And the good thing with Lightning wallets on phones, you could just go to a friend and say, hey, here, do it. Let me observe you. So there's some very, cheap, fast, low-key things that you can do to kind of narrow in on things. It's not the same as a proper study, but it helps a little bit.
I would also love to know what everyone's like motivations are. I don't know if it's maybe too personal or whatever, but like out of the wallet improvement project, like what would be some of like the motivations in like what do you personally want to get out of it? Like would it be like experience, or like do you want to like try out certain tools and stuff like that? Because I think it should also be fun, right? Fun for everyone. But we could talk about it offline, obviously. But maybe we could discuss like some of that at some point.
We have a fellow Jitzer wanting to speak out, so go ahead, fellow Jitzer.
Hey, my name is Anthony. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, good. My name is Anthony, and I'm a visual artist from Kenya. I came across the Bitcoin design group sometime last year, and I was really keen on, the whole idea of designing crypto products. So just to answer John's question, I think for me personally, this is a perfect opportunity to learn or to understand what product design actually is, and hopefully pivot into this scene. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Well, welcome. It's great that you are here, and thanks for sharing this. I'm sure we'll all learn a lot. We also have Mogashni. Do you want to? I'm not sure if I mispronounced that one. Sorry, but you want to also chime in on
Wow,
what your motivation
you did a great job on pronouncing my name well the first time. You can just call me Mo. That's fine. I might even just put Mo. I might just put AKA Mo in the end every time I sign up.
People have been butchering my name entire life, so yeah, I know how it feels. So go ahead.
I have exactly the same, and I've reached a point where I don't mind. I just don't mind. Anyway, I'm from the Netherlands. I'm a UX design student. I do come from a background in marketing research, so I'm not a typical student because I've just kind of thrown myself into the Bitcoin design community, jumped on calls involuntarily, which Christoph finds absolutely hilarious. But I guess I'll be finishing my studies at the end of March, and made it through the first phase of Summer of Bitcoin. So my intention of doing this is literally seeing how the whole UX process is done in the real world. And it'll look wonderful to put on my CV as well, of course, when I'm applying to companies. But so far, really loving the whole open source feel thing. So I'm kind of now thinking whether I always want to work open source or commercial. But at the moment, I'm loving open source. So I'm feeling a bit tainted now. So yeah, I have to see how I go along. I've kind of already made up my mind that I like open source. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, I have quite a few things on that one, but I want to give other people a chance. So Millie, you also raised your hand. Do you want to go ahead and tell us what your motivations are?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. So I'm pretty new to the UX UI field. So I've been like freelancing for a year. I worked like with two Bitcoin companies, but it was mostly like website stuff and rebranding. And I wanted to get more experience regarding like the specific like mobile wallets and Lightning, and that's why I jumped in. Yeah. I'm from Canada, but right now I'm in Austin. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Does anybody else want to share? Cody, Raj? Okay, go Raj.
Hello, so my name is Raz. I'm an industrial designer based in London, and well, my motivation for this is I've had I've recently joined the group, and I'm just learning about you guys. But my motivations are basically I want to help improve the space because I've had some personal frustrations, let's say, with the legacy banking system and trying to send money across borders. So yeah, I would like to help just make it smoother for everyone that wants to kind of move away from that.
I could definitely, agree with you there about legacy systems and fiat banking. We could go about that for days on end, Definitely. Thanks for sharing, by the way.
Cody, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Cody. So I learned to code last year, and I want to work on Bitcoin for the rest of my life and stuff. But the last couple of months, I'm in the Marine Corps, and so I've been activated helping Afghan refugees who got resettled here when they moved out of Afghanistan. A lot of them encountered a lot of the problems of they have money in the banking system back in Afghanistan, and so in terms of over the last couple of months, we're just working with them, taught them how to use stable coins, how to use Lightning wallets. I've mostly been using Moon, and so just seen a lot of pain points with onboarding people from the technical side to the non-technical side. And so I've never really done design stuff before, but once I finish up this activation, which I'm coming up to the end of, then I want to do more open source Bitcoin stuff. And so
Thank you, Cody. I just want to say one thing. I've been in open source for I said this 3 times on the call, feeling quite repetitive, but 5 years now full time. And I just want to tell you guys, if you're considering open source and whether you should join in, there are certainly ways to get in, get experience, network with people. People are very open. You can learn a lot. And also when it comes to funding, there are ways to get your work also funded, as long as you're showing dedication and patience and also, passion before all of that. We will also try to help you out along the way. So just feel free to, get yourself involved and learn. And of course, you can also build out your portfolio in open source way faster. I really had... there is actually a podcast that I did regarding this topic that will be out in a few days, hopefully. But you can really build out your portfolio and your career in this space much faster in open source. And I just want to encourage you all, if you have any questions at any time, feel free to reach any of us a little bit more experienced, quote unquote, in open source. I'm always helpful, to help you direct in certain ways or just help answer any questions. But there are ways to make this work. It is not impossible, and it's very rewarding to be in this field and working with people that are completely open about everything, basically. So just want to encourage you and thank you all for sharing these stories with us, because it's awesome to see that why we are all here at the first place. With that in mind, maybe it's time to wrap up this call with these amazing stories. I guess we can. I just wanted to ask, do you guys want us to create a special channel on Slack for the wallet improvement project so that we can maybe better communicate? Does that make any sense, or do you want to keep communicating? I guess we can make a channel and then join in. I will post an announcement in general, just we are moving in, so that we can just maybe have a little bit more focused discussion. Okay, I guess that's a yes.
Sounds good, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining this call. I was mostly expecting me and Christoph to be alone, crying about not having people, but just seeing you all guys so passionate makes my heart warm, and I'm just so excited with the things that we'll do this year. So thanks everybody for coming in, and let's just improve Bitcoin wallets, I guess. I will be shortly posting an announcement in general so that we can better connect. And feel free to reach out to me, Christoph, John, Steven, whoever it is. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions regarding your open source work, or is it the wallet improvement project. Just thank you once again, and I guess see you very soon.
Yeah, and also final one last thing, on Twitter or any media platforms, just use the hashtag #AskPav to spam him about open source questions, please. This will make me very happy. #AskPav, hashtag #AskPav. Let's go.
He is trying to get back to me now for me giving him the facilitator role. But yeah, okay, ask Pav it is. Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely love it. All right. It was a great
Okay,
call,
guys.
guys. Really enjoyed it. Looking forward to learning from you guys. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Likewise. Thank you guys so much.
Bye-bye. Enjoy your day, guys.
Bye.
Bye.